Let's go.
Let's get it
Let's
started.
do this. All right, so.
First of all, we're stepping up our graphic game today, guys.
Da, 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 da.
Our daughter made it for us, and so we thought we would step it up.
Step up a game. High quality.
H2O.
No.
High quality graphics.
High quality graphics only for the.
Made by our 8-year-olds. Only
Yes.
for this podcast.
This is the most heavily produced and most expensive
Recap
podcast you could
out there.
possibly listen to.
So, guys, listen. What goes on behind the scenes to make this happen?
There's like 20, 30 people on this, all right? So you better be careful. Like, we're employing a lot of people with this podcast.
This phone's being held by...
Literally 2 books and Amazon, what is that? What is it? Alexa is holding up our
still
phone.
in the box and an upside down candle. So, guys,
And
top
then
notch.
this is our nightstand right here holding it. So.
Nothing but the best from Team Orange over here.
Team Orange, even though we do got a little bit of orange.
Oh yeah, this is for my son's basketball tournament.
Not a swanky nightclub.
Can we just talk about my shirt real quick, you guys?
Hey,
Greatest movie of all time. Hands down, I don't care what you guys say. Greatest movie of all time. I can quote every line in this movie. It's our time.
That's what gets
our time.
That's what gets
right
it going.
here. Yeah, it does. I'm not kidding. Okay. Let's get it started.
Okay. All right. So we are in India.
Second leg in India. Okay.
Second leg. Get me out of India. Okay. So number 1, my biggest concern going on the show was being the first team eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, I just wanted to get out of India. Let's get out of it. It's so
concern.
hot.
Second concern.
It was
getting
so
out
hot.
Of India.
It was so hot. And it was rough.
So
but not so much that I needed a
taking
water
breaks
break.
of water.
Yeah, come on, let's keep pushing, baby. I will push till I die. I don't need water. That's at you, Joel. That's at you.
Listen, let's start off with how the show started off. We started off with the U-turn. Now, I have so much to say about this U-turn. I'm heated, actually.
It was the most badly strategically.
It was garbage, you guys.
It was garbage. Like, what was everyone doing?
Take your U-turn and throw it in the trash because it was garbage.
Garbage. Like, you're going to get a team that's 3 hours ahead of everyone else. You're just going to catch them up to everyone else.
Okay.
Use the U-turn to bust somebody. Get them out of there.
Listen, we're going to talk about this.
Boys, Liam and Jeremy, let's get it. Woo!
Todd said that he said that we've adopted them. So we are officially, unofficially their adoptive parents. So that's that.
Dang, how old does that make us?
Pretty old.
The thing that sucks is like I feel like I'm their age.
I'm their age, yeah.
They're like, hey, what am I, like 2 years older than you? They're like, nah, actually, bro, you're like 15.
We're pretty old. Okay, so back in Vietnam when we all got like screwed over with that flight, Texas, Liam and Jeremy and Team Orange all made an alliance. Loose alliance in terms of like we all agreed that we were going to help each other and not use the U-turn on us. We all came together because we all had our own stories about Robin and Chelsea, and that was going to be our target. Fast forward to the U-turn. Now,
My boys.
okay, but they're your boys, but they were consistently in the back.
Yeah, I don't care. They were holding it down back there. They were holding it down back there in the back.
Okay, I
They're
understand
my
that,
boys.
but listen.
They had our back. They're like, you ain't getting last. We get last.
Imagine if they were like, were you turning Todd and Ashlie? Okay, so here's our thought process behind why we U-turned Robin and Chelsea. I've heard some recap saying we hated them. We did not hate Robin and Chelsea. Here's strategically, we all knew where the rankings came in. We knew that Steve and Annalie came in first. And we knew that they came in first.
By like 3 hours.
I think it was like an hour.
No, it was long.
It was a long time.
Yeah, they were so far ahead of everybody.
Watching the race since the beginning, and I've had plenty of time to analyze using the U-turn. This was the stupidest strategy. Why on God's green earth would you decide to U-turn someone that's ahead of you?
Because you want to bring them back to you, so then you could be even and they could beat you again. That's why we're gonna do it. Imagine if they didn't mess up on turning in the receipt. They still would have beat people. They might have still gotten first. That's how far ahead they were. They were gonna get U-turn and still get in first.
our whole reasoning behind Robin and Chelsea wasn't because we hated them. Robin and Chelsea were not consistently in the back of the pack. There were other teams that were consistently getting second to last. Now, Robin and Chelsea are kind of a wild card. They did get first one other time.
They could beat you.
They were close by us, right? They were like in the back, but then they'd come up. So it was one of those things where like, I feel more comfortable keeping teams that are consistently getting the second to last place, because I much rather get someone else that's next to us getting in behind us than getting someone that's consistently placing.
Well, if you think about it, our team would have been a perfect team to U-turn.
Dude,
we were
you
consistently
guys.
in the middle. If you're consistently in the middle, you get that person out. The weaker teams survive, and the middle tier gets out. No one's U-turning people so that they do good.
No,
you're U-turning them so you get them
race.
out.
We want you gone.
Where is the grit, people?
Face.
Where is the grit?
I U-turn you to remove seeing your face for the remainder of the race.
Right.
That's the whole point of a U-turn.
So
not to put you in your place. No, if I U-turn you, I don't want to see you again.
If you U-turn someone, you want them out.
I don't want to race with you.
I don't know, like
any
all these.
longer.
Yeah, you U-turn the people and get them out.
Okay.
And you know what? I'll tell you straight up. If I U-turn you, shoot, I tried to U-turn Ashlie. It wouldn't work. They said I couldn't do it. They were like only an hour ahead of us. They probably would have got out.
Yeah.
But they were 3 hours ahead. They had time to do a whole challenge.
They could have gotten lunch in between and still would have been U-turned and been fine. Like,
they had
that
enough
was the
time.
Stupidest move.
Jeez Louise, guys.
This was a perfect opportunity.
I love y'all,
to
but
utilize
come
this,
on, let's do it.
And it was missed. So, all right. So U-turn. We find out that, everyone places their votes, and now we're on to the first part of the leg. Now, let's talk about this famous Instagram place where we have to use the monocular
Yeah.
Monocular
Right.
and look for the location.
The thing about that thing is once you get it perfectly right, you could see it, right? But it takes a while to figure that thing
blurry.
out. It was very sensitive, right? You
Yeah.
you pull it out and it's not there, and it passes the right spot and pulls it back and it's not, and you got to get it zoned in. Once you get it calibrated right, you're good to go. It's a lot tougher than what they showed.
It was very hard to use, and when we got there, we met up with
Joel and Garrett.
Joel and Garrett, and they were doing the legwork. So I had my notepad out, and while Todd was working on the monocular, I was listening to Joel and Garrett say, try to figure it out. And so Joel was telling Garrett the answer. It's UDAI1. So I'm literally eavesdropping on their conversation, and I literally am writing down the answers that they're saying. All of a sudden, they're like, cool, this is it. That's what we saw. Let's go. So I was like, Todd, we got it. I copied them. Let's go. Now, race brain. It's always this double check. Make sure you have it right. And so to be safe, what ended up happening was Joel and Garrett took off, and we wanted to double check our work.
I wanted to double check our work.
What we tell our kids all the time is double check your work and make sure you got it right. So we're living in that. So what they showed on TV Todd was like, this is so funny. You were like, I got it. I got it. And I'm like, cool, what's the answer? And you were like, hold on, wait a minute. And I was like, knowing that Joel and Garrett just left, and so they didn't show that part.
There's a scene where I'm pushing and Corey's pushing. That was complete surprise to me. I did not know he was pushing it. I didn't know he was I didn't know we were kind of going back and forth.
You're like, let's work together, and you guys were just like.
Yep, that's why sometimes there's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Bricks and deliver.
Okay. Is the Detour. Now, let's talk about these rickshaw drivers.
Okay, what they did not show about the rickshaw drivers is they had no idea where they were going. We were circling that town for a good hour and a half.
I'm confident that they brought in women from another region of India for this task, because not a single rickshaw driver knew where they were going. I know that the way they showed it and edited it was Liam and Jeremy's rickshaw, they got the worst one. No, they were all terrible. Everyone had a problem with navigating. every single person.
Yeah, so we were circling the town for about an hour and a half. It felt like that long.
So frustrating.
And we were going north. Our driver stops to check for directions. Then we're going south, and then stops and checks for directions. Then you're going east, and then you're going west, and then you're like, what is going on? And then finally,
and then she would say, and then you're like, do you know where this is? And she's like, yeah, I know where it is.
And
sit back and relax.
Right.
And then she would pull over and be like, do you know where this is?
Right.
And every stop. And I was like, I'm going to claw my face off.
Right. And so we thought we were in last at that point because we were so lost, and our only hope was that everyone else was having the same difficulty as we were, and which ended up being the case. But so what I ended up doing for the rest of that leg was I jumped in the front with the driver, even though there was like no room.
I loved it.
And I basically asked her for her phone. She let me use it. I typed it in, and I was telling her where to go.
So it was to the point where like we were getting so lost and she was not listening to anything we were saying. This is where I think like making these decisions, like I don't think you could have switched rickshaws. You couldn't just like hop out and find another rickshaw. That wasn't part of the plan. You had to travel by rickshaw. You couldn't get out and run. So I think Todd, in that split decision, being like, screw this, I'm getting in the front seat, and like, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to figure it out myself because I'm not relying on you. That was such a great strategic move. And I think because he did that, we were able to get through the rest of the race.
Right. And then finally we find the bricks.
Yep.
And
why did we choose the bricks?
We chose the bricks just simply because when it comes between hard labor and hard intensive work or details and trying to find things in that town, we notice these rickshaw drivers have no idea where they're going. So let's just do the bricks. It sounds a little more centralized. It sounds like we could go off on our own and find it ourselves.
Yeah, we weren't going to put the fate of the race
on a driver,
on these rickshaw drivers who have proven that they don't know where they're going. So we were like, you know what? We feel more comfortable of just like, if we lose because we get lost, that's on us. I'm not going to lose because this person doesn't know where they're going.
Go out swinging, baby.
Yeah,
Go out
so
swinging.
We chose the bricks because it was obviously
is on us.
Less room for error on navigating with the rickshaw driver, and then it was just more physical.
Right. It was like bikes were really, really difficult to steer. First of all, the handlebars were way down here. And
Todd's legs were all, they were like up here, like ding, 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 ding. Like you trying to ride that thing was hilarious.
And there's one time where I was riding, you were pushing, and then we decided to switch. And
why did we decide to switch? Let me tell the story.
Because you were tired.
Was I tired? Okay, so this is what ended up happening. So Todd's riding his bike, and I'm pushing in the back. And I'm just like, I put my head down. I'm like, we're in this. We're pushing. Todd's working just as hard as I am. Like, we're in this together. So I have my head down, and I'm pushing, and I'm running, and I'm sweating, and I'm like about to pass out. And I look up to see Todd, and Todd looks like he is on some casual stroll down like in Central Park. He's like riding his bike, and I look up and he's all, hey, California, like waving to people, and just like, I don't even think he was pedaling. I think it was just all me pushing. And I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, one thing they didn't show is there was like hundreds and hundreds of people like watching us and like super intrigued.
Yeah.
And so people were like watching us, and so I was like waving to people. I felt like a celebrity a little bit.
Yeah, so he was like living in this moment of just like,
yeah.
And I'm like pushing, and so I look up and I was like, heck no. I am not in the back fighting for my life, and you're just out here like blowing kisses to like people. No, we're switching. So then we end up switching. I
was directing traffic at that time, trying to get you across the street.
I can't even. So I'm thinking that Todd's in the back pushing the rickshaw and helping me, and I'm like, why is this so heavy? Like, my gosh, I'm struggling. And I'm like, Todd, and I turn back to ask Todd a question, and I'm like, where's Todd? Where did he go? I'm all by myself. He's like, what, 40 yards away, like directing
I was blocking traffic for her.
And he's all like signing autographs and like.
I was blocking traffic for her. We finally get there. We stack up the bricks. What that episode didn't do justice was it was so stinking hot. It was so tiring.
It was very hot.
You heard some people like, oh, I'm going to puke, because it really did feel that way. Finally get back at our clue, and now it's time to hop in another trusty rickshaw driver and get to
the fabric shop.
The
fabric shop.
That was another
like,
fiasco.
torturous.
Right. That was another fiasco.
We were so lost that I was starting to think that this fabric shop was like a made up place. I was like, this doesn't exist here. There's no such thing as this fabric shop.
And that one took us about an hour to find. We were like driving all over the place. We were going in circles. And then so that's when I jumped in front.
And at one point,
none of this.
At one point, and I think it showed it, but it didn't show the extent. Like I was so frustrated, and at one point she was like, "You need to get out and help. I can't turn around." So like our rickshaw just stopped working. So Todd and I had to get out of the rickshaw and like push it through, like
sewage. It's pretty rough.
We had to push it through like all this running stuff,
sewage.
And it was just like that scene where I was like sitting there with my thing, like my clue. It was just after that moment, and I was like, I'm done. Where the heck is this like fabric store? I want this to be over.
And that's when we finally found, and so we thought we were last at this point. And then we found Joel and Garrett, and they were just as lost as us. And so we were like, woo, thank goodness. Yeah. And so we finally find the fabric shop, get our fabric. And then by then we kind of already knew the deal with trying to navigate. And
Todd was like, well, move over, lady.
Shoot, if she would have let me drive, I would have. And then so we finally find the stamp thing.
Oh, the blocks.
Yeah, the blocks.
Who's better at blocks?
Building blocks.
Who wants to play with blocks?
Yeah, who wants to play with blocks? I took it. And I kind of struggled. It took me a long time to do it. Those things were you had to line them up perfectly, and there was 4 different colors, and if you messed up on like the second color, you're like, okay, screw that one. Got to move on to the next. And so I think I had like 3 different sheets I had to run through, maybe 4. And that's when Lena and Morgan passed us up.
While Todd is just like sweating and trying to get us to the next part of this race with the stamps, this is when Ashlie comes in and she's like, starts doing her interrogation. Now, here's my thought. I'm going to ask you a question. Everyone knows that it's a unanimous vote.
Unanimous.
Unanimous means everyone voted. Unanimous means unanimous? Mm-hmm. It's unanimous. Everyone vote.
Oh, yeah, you're
unanimous
right.
Means...
I don't think that's the right word.
Unanimous?
I don't think that's right.
Unanimous?
I don't think so.
Is that not a word?
Just say blind.
We'll have to figure that out. I don't know. It was a blind vote. Knowing that, if you were U-turned, would you interrogate people like that? Would you have done that like Ashlie did? Would you have
I think I would have asked. Yeah, I'd want to know who voted for me for sure.
Okay.
But
okay, now put yourself in our position, and we U-turn them. Would you be honest?
Strategically, no.
So would you have done a Joel and Corey, or would you have done a Milena?
I would have done a Milena and Andrea. I wouldn't have told them. Mm-hmm. You got to keep your game strong. I would not tell the truth. No. Okay. But it's all circumstantial, right? So if they would find out some other way, then if there's a way they could find out, like if I told somebody else, I would either be completely silent to everyone, or I would tell. If I told somebody, I would have to tell them, because what you don't want is you don't want to lie and then get caught in your lie. So you either lie like Andrea did and not tell anyone, or you go like Joel and Garrett, like you're gonna know, like I already told other people, yes, I voted for you, and here's why. Because I want you out, right? You don't try to say you don't try to sugarcoat it, because it doesn't
come across.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Because there's no sugarcoating it. Now, what are your thoughts? Did you like the blind vote prior to the lake, or do you like the older seasons where you're forced to do a U-turn while you're racing? I
like both, but I do like the traditional one.
I do too.
The traditional one, and then the double U-turn is pretty awesome too.
Mm-hmm. I much prefer the U-turns where you're forced to make a split second decision on who you want to U-turn, and because there's no political, it's more of just dude, if I don't U-turn you, I'm out. I like that anxiety of getting to the U-turn and being like, oh my god, is it me? I was pretty confident it wasn't us, because Todd does a very fantastic job. Because he, again, this is where the social game comes in. What they haven't shown is Todd, he does a fantastic job of politicking. This guy he should have been a politician, and that's why I guarantee you no one thought to U-turn us, is because we're a likable, mostly Todd, is a likable person, and he is I truly think that's the reason why. That's why your social game on this race is so important. They haven't shown a lot of it, of what Todd and his personality and interactions with everyone, but I really do think that's what has saved us from even being considered at the U-turn. Yeah. This is not to take away from Steve and Annalie, but without a doubt, any other team could have been U-turned and still been in the race. That's how far Liam and Jeremy were behind.
Maybe.
He was saying that they were at least 3 hours behind Robin and Chelsea.
Really?
Yeah. So again, not just take away from.
So
Steve
imagine
and
if we pulled back or did the thing with Robin and Chelsea. Maybe if they would have voted for them, maybe they would have been a more even match.
I agree.
Maybe.
I agree. It would have been a little closer, but
I will say though, racing in front of the pack and racing in back is always the most difficult.
I agree. Yeah.
Because in the front you don't know where you're going. Sometimes, a lot of times when you're in the middle of the pack, you could see people ahead of you. Go, oh, that's the way we go.
Yeah.
You get none of that.
There's safety in the middle.
Yeah.
But
there is. But I want to get out of the middle eventually.
I do too. We'll see if we do.
Keep watching, people.
We're done with India. We're on to Frankfurt, Germany.
Frankfurt, Germany, baby. Let's go, Germany. Watch us in Frankfurt, Germany.
So, I know that our son was conceived in Germany. You wouldn't have known that, but our son was conceived in Germany. We actually used to live in Germany. That's where Todd played basketball in Germany for a year. And
that's where we found out
we were pregnant with our firstborn son. So Germany holds a special place in our hearts. Frankfurt, that's where I got my first tattoo.
I don't remember any of that Frankfurt when we went the first time though, not gonna lie.
Lots of
Steins. Steins of Kohleweisen.
Kohleweisen.
All right, thank you guys.
Ciao,
see ya.
bella.
No, auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.